sitting position, there's two types of sitting positions. This is, I forget the name of it, but it's the one that we do the most. There is a crossed ankle. I think this is crossed leg. This is crossed leg. I prefer this. Typically, I think the left leg crosses over the right leg, but that's not that critical. A few key elements to it. Your legs are crossed. You're bent forward so that both elbows are on the knees. In fact, he's got a pretty good knee position with his elbows. You don't want it on the ball right here. You want it inside here where there's a flat spot in there, okay? If you ever try to balance two balls, one on top of another, it just doesn't work very well, okay? And notice he's bent forward. His back is slumped over, but the key is he's bent forward from his hips. You want to bend forward from the hips as much as you possibly can, okay? And his back he is leaning a little bit to the right. We really want it to be not leaning to the right and not leaning to the left. We want it to be even. The key to this is, if you are turned, notice how he's turned in relation to the firing line and the target. He's rotated from being straight on, he's rotated about 5 to 15 degrees, just like prone, okay? If you try to get in position, put your elbows on your knees, and one elbow won't go on your knee and the other one will, the problem is almost always you've turned too far one direction or the other. If you turn too far one way, one elbow goes on, the other elbow won't. If you turn too far the other way, the other elbow goes on and the first elbow won't. So by rotating your position a little bit left and right, you can get where you can have even pressure on both elbows down onto the knees, okay? I tell people it's like sitting there cross leg or Indian style. Your hands are like this or like this, and you get your chin on your hands, and then to get in sitting position, you just simply roll that front hand out, put the gun in there, and there you are. That's sitting position. Here, elbows on the knees, roll out, put the gun in, and you're in sitting position. If you need to raise and lower the muzzle of the gun, there's several things you can do. One is move your front hand forward or backwards. So pull your front hand forward, backwards. There you go, like that. That's gonna raise the muzzle, okay? The other thing you can do is bend more from the hip to get your shoulders lower. And then the third thing is, where he has his feet, he can cross his legs more like this, and he can pull his feet back under him more. And that will raise the knees up. And that will give you more height. He's got his buttstock fairly high, but he really could bring it higher in his shoulder because you want to get it up to your cheek so that you get a good cheek weld and have your eye aligned with the rear sight. Now the sling, notice he's wearing the sling, but it's just loose. That's fine for starting off. It's a good place to start, but eventually, go ahead and get in position. Eventually, we're going to pull this sling. So now, it holds the rifle up. And we talked about, when we were talking about slings, we talk about testing if it's holding it up. If I just push down gently, if it wants to go up and down, that's good. If it were trying to go left or right, then we would need to adjust our position a little bit so that that pressure would make the gun just be up and down, not left and right. Okay? And that is pretty much sitting. We do want to be careful that we don't cant or tilt the rifle outward away from the body. It needs to be tilted either vertical or tilted towards the body. The tendency is if we tilt it outward, and then we have to tilt our head farther out to get to it, and then it looks like it's not straight, so then they tilt it more, and then they tilt their head more, and next thing you know, they're sideways. So we want to keep it straight up and down or tilted in towards the body. Now, natural point of aim. Every position has a natural point of aim. That's just simply where it naturally points, okay? He's pointed roughly at lane 9 here. If he wanted to go to lane 10, how would he do it? Ah, he did it. Notice what he did here. He pivoted on his rear end. Everything else pivoted around his rear end. Now go back to lane 9. Everything stayed the same except his whole position pivoting around the backside changed his natural point of aim to the target he wanted, and that's what we want to do. Very good. Any questions? All right, thank you.